So I'm Ron Lenz, originally from Iowa, small farm town, joined the military at 17,
Oh, wow.
spent 20 years, 14 years as an air traffic controller, 6 years as a pilot, and retired out of the Pentagon in 22. Started real estate while I was still active duty and then do that full time now and brought my aviation world into real estate. And we are the property pilot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, I've been his wife for the last 20 years, and I was a nurse in critical care for the last 12 years. And I still do that. I only work maybe 1 or 2 days a week, though,
Okay.
just kind of fill that passion. But I got to take a step back and became a real estate agent with him. He drugged me in and said, "Hey, I think you should do this. You could really use your help." And I love it. And then I also decided to tackle becoming a lender as well. I'm a loan officer for a mortgage broker as well.
Beautiful. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that you both work together as husband and wife. Talk to me about that dynamic and what it's like because you don't see that very often, right?
I'm going to shut up and let her answer that. What do you
So,
think, Sam?
We were worried at first, won't lie. Like while we are very opposite, we are also very strong personalities.
Opposites attract.
Yeah. So I didn't know how that was going to work. Ron definitely has a very type A, I want things done this way. This is the way I want things done.
Nicely
He's
put.
not wrong. And I am a very much fly by the seat of my pants.
I love that. I'm jealous.
And so I was surprised at how well we actually worked out together and kind of filled in the gaps where the other person, like I'm not as strong up front with people like he is. And I am much better on the backside with doing the menial tasks that he doesn't necessarily like to do.
Yeah.
That was a nice way to put it. I have a couple marks on the inside of my cheek still from having to bite my tongue and bite my cheek sometimes. It was interesting at first. Military career really makes you act a certain way, and I realized that doesn't always work on the outside.
Yeah.
So I think though probably after 8 months we found our
I
rhythm.
think so.
And I really, she's spot on. I mean, I am more of it's 80-90%, let's move, there's so many things to do. She's very much the data behind the scenes, so we have learned to harness what we're both good at.
That is awesome. No, and I think it's great because like maybe if you both were the same, it would be kind of crazy, right? So you fill in those gaps that need to be filled, that the other is like, okay, I can't do this. Don't worry, I got you.
If we were both the same, if we were like me, we would just be sitting at a bar bullshitting with clients the whole day.
Oh my
because
God.
I'm very much a social butterfly.
Yeah.
And Sam's more of the realistic, grounded individual. So yeah, it's good.
I love that. That's great. And now I'd like to know, do you guys have a team or is it just you guys?
So I'm part of a team called the Checkmate Group with Century
Okay.
21 Redwood. So we've got currently 9 agents on there. So I am on that team. And then we, unofficially describe ourselves as a team, a husband and wife lender realtor team, but with the respect that I am on the Checkmate Group.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything to add to that?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I didn't join his team or his team he's on because I wanted a little more autonomy and flexibility.
Yeah. And you being a nurse, like that's still great that
Yeah.
you're like, you know what? I still love that passion. So why
Yeah,
don't you
and I
do
didn't want to
this?
let that go, but I didn't want to have the full-time commitment to a team that
I love
would
that.
probably needed.
Yeah, no, but good for you though that you're still continuing that. You didn't be like, okay, Ron, I'll give up my dream just for you. I love that
Yeah,
you
but I
stuck
don't think
to
that
your
was quite
guns,
right
right?
for me.
Yeah.
Love it. And then I would like to ask you, what have been some of the updates that you can give us that has changed for you guys in your industry that you would like to share?
You want me to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I think everybody knows with real estate, there's the whole lawsuit that took place in August. Believe it or not, I feel like that has actually been beneficial to us. And we actually both are very big educators. And so we've kind of restructured the things, the way we do it, the way we onboard new clients. And instead of talking about houses and the area, we actually focus more on let's get you smart on what's going on and how we operate, what these new rules present, both good and bad and challenging, right? And it's been very, very beneficial, I think, to us. I would say that the biggest change has probably been just we have to learn to slow down in the DC area. Usually speed is what wins in real estate. And I'm finding that we've kind of taken more of a focus on let's start at the beginning and go a little slower and teach our folks and get them fully prepped for what they're about to encounter.
Yeah.
Because as you know, living here, it's fast paced, it's
Very.
hectic,
Mhm.
you can't take a breath. And in real estate, when you're juggling, this year the most, we had 26 clients at one time. So it was never ending, and we realized that front loading is far more important than we gave it credit for.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. Like education is such a huge piece in what we do.
Yeah, and informing your clients and making sure that they're in the know, right? Because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky, and you're just like, "What are you saying?" Like, I don't know this real estate jargon, so hand walking them and helping them with.
And a lot of
go ahead.
I'll say a lot of what we're explaining now, even with like the lawsuit changes, the commission changes, we were always doing things that way. Most of Northern Virginia has been operating that way because that is how our agency wants us to. And something was always being done, but now taking the time to explain it and really break it down to people. Yeah. So I don't think it's had as much of an impact on our market here.
Yeah. You know, so when that lawsuit happened, there were only 12 states, I believe it was 12 states in the country that were doing it the right way. Virginia, Maryland, and DC were 3 of the 12. Okay. So Virginia was required since 2009 to be doing it as such. But, you know, besides that, I think the other thing that's changed is I would say, 75-80% of our clients are not here. They're not here. They're military. They're relocating. They've never lived here. And imagine trying to explain the difficulty of the DMV. And even when I say DMV, they're like, why are we going to the DMV? So,
no, not that DMV.
Right. And so not only describing on the outrageous cost and the high interest rates, and now there's these new policies, and we can't guarantee that our commissions will be paid, and then educating on everything else, it's been a lot. Yeah. And I think that's what's kind of forced our hand for 2025 to be more structured, be more regimented, and ultimately be more predictable.
Yeah, absolutely. And then speaking of marketing, which is a topic that I always like to ask entrepreneurs about, I know you guys said you guys just wrapped up doing like some videos for YouTube. Can you talk to me and share some insights for other entrepreneurs who are listening, business owners, why that is important and why you guys are so good at that?
Absolutely. People have to know you exist, for one. So there's always a joke, if you're a real estate agent, they're going to let you know. Like my dad always makes that joke too. Oh, they'll tell you. Yeah, we absolutely will. It's part of the job. But we have to, because that's our livelihood. And that's our sphere of influence. It's who you know. Yes, you can also market on Google and pay for ads. Yep. We don't personally prefer to take that route. We like to do a little more personalized to our structure, our friends, our people we know. And I think that's important, just to get that word out to them, what we're doing.
For me, it was, I feel like, again, all of our folks are typically not here, right? So I end up saying about the same 20 phrases over and over and over. And we talk about the same 15 challenges over and over. So what I decided to do was put this stuff on the internet so that it exists. And then when folks are interested in us, I can direct them to that location. Yeah. You know, and it's everything from start to finish. It's weird, quirky facts about the VA loans, because that's primarily what we operate in. Yes. But other than that, other marketing.
Ooh, I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's one that you did your speech, your RGA on the other week about branding. That's been something that he has developed a lot over the last year or two, is really trying to hone in on what is our brand. Yeah. And that comes into marketing of who are we, what do we do, and how do you recognize that? And that's by branding yourself.
Absolutely, for sure.
Can I tell you how the property pilot came to be?
Yes, please do, please.
So I was driving to a winery. That's where it all starts,
Of
right?
course,
Usually over a drink, right? So I'm driving to a winery. I'd been in real estate at that time, probably a year and a half or so. Honestly, marketing, like I'm trying to figure everything else out, right? To be a business owner, I didn't realize all the things that it took.
Yes.
And so I was focused on just winning contracts, opening doors, and turning on lights. That's pretty much it. But I was driving out to this winery. It was actually a company happy hour, and it was an election season at the time. And as I'm driving by, I see all these signs in people's yards, and this one sign caught my eye. And this one sign had Virginia, and then it looked like almost like a crosshair, right? And I was like, I don't even know who this person is, but I feel like there's something dealing with a military background. It just looked military.
Yeah.
And it stayed in my mind. And the next day I looked up like who's running for different offices, and I found the logo, and it was a gentleman who was a retired Navy admiral and now running for Senate. And I thought, man, I didn't even know that guy existed, but that sign caught my eye.
Something about it.
And I had no idea who he was, what he was about, what he stood for, but immediately I thought there's something with military. And when my sphere is primarily military, I immediately had a connection. I felt there was some trust there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, if I'm gonna look him up to vote for him, what would that do for us? And then I was thinking, well, how do I take aviation and bring that into real estate? And again, went to the winery, and I think, 2 or 3 glasses in, I was like, oh my gosh, property pilot, and there it was born.
Oh my goodness.
So
over a drink.
And
Love it.
I think that's when people ask, do I miss the military? I do in some regards, but what I have enjoyed the most is becoming who we want to be, creating a brand. I can spend as much money or as little money on things that I want. I can do it exactly how I want. And then as we started working together in 24, and then now looking at what 25 is creating, that branding, that logo, and our company is now kind of the filter on all marketing that we do. Yeah. Does it breed the property pilot? And the one, you know, military background, you always have to have a core mission and core values and things like that.
That's right.
And so really what our marketing has become is, if you work with the property pilot, we guarantee you 3 things. We guarantee you dynamic customer service. We guarantee that we build relationships through real estate, and we guarantee that we energize communities. And I bring in lots of local bakers and chefs and all these different people to help in the sales.
Yeah.
And so we believe that if we've got a big table, we pull up as many chairs to it as we can.
That is wonderful. I love that. That is a great story. And all
I love it.
The winery, right?
It's all for a winery. So
and we kind of have fun with it too.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. This guy is not all that serious, despite what it sounds like right now. Like,
I'm on air.
Everybody,
I trust
everybody
her.
that knows.
I trust her.
Oh yeah. I was voted class clown in high school.
Oh
so
my goodness.
There is that. Yeah.
So it's just kind of a way to have fun with it too, but then obviously make ourselves well known, and then bringing back to bringing community events. So like I think being military, being a nurse, having a career our whole life.
Yeah.
Now this is a career, it's also, we learned that we don't want to just go to work every day and swipe the time clock.
Yeah.
That's not a life we really want to live. And this is allowing us to kind of really branch out and have fun with it and still be able to obviously make a living, but build a life with that as well and build a community around us.
Absolutely.
And it's more than just like, that's what I would say, like people, not transactions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's really easy to get caught up in the busyness of everything and like what am I trying to say? Just get caught up in like not treating people as people anymore.
And transactions, right?
Yeah.
And missing that personable.
Yeah, and that's one thing we always want to try not to ever lose that. We want to know our clients and have half of them become our friends after.
I can see that. You guys seem like so sweet and fun. I would want to be your friend too.
So on that same line, when the first branding that I ever did was exactly that, and I put the tagline "Beyond the Sale," and that's actually still on my website, Beyond the Sale. Because as I got into real estate and my friends were saying, why'd you do this? Any 18-year-old can be a real estate agent. You were a pilot and an air traffic controller. Like, go do something big. And I realized that's because when people think real estate agents, they think, sorry if anybody's a car salesman, but my mom's a car salesman. They think salesman, right? I don't look at this as sales. I look at this as I'm a coach. And so, I had friends that were like, my agent doesn't even come to closing. The moment that I close, I never hear from him again. Hell, half the time, the moment I go under contract, I don't hear from him again.
Oh my goodness.
And so I thought, that's not me. I'm a very people person.
Yeah.
So I want to be with you beyond the sale. And that's I think that's why we found such fast success. Yeah. Is because we give a shit.
I love
and we're
it's
realistic.
Not just about the money or the bottom line.
Yeah.
We have our side careers that we still do for that purpose, that we don't have to do this for the money.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And I feel like that shows through in your passion. And even just you guys, like, even just from knowing you guys from the photo shoot we did, I was behind the scenes. You had a different photographer. I was like, these guys are just so genuine. You guys get silly. So I feel that definitely comes through when you're talking to people. And you guys are absolutely a people person. Yeah. Even if he says that you're shy, I feel like you are. You're so easy to talk to. I love it. Yeah. So that's great. And I feel like that's what makes you guys stand out. I know you mentioned that she does the title loan. So tell me how everything is like in-house when you're working with you guys.
So if people want to use me as their lender, they absolutely can. They never have to. I take clients on too that if I'm their agent and I'm not their lender, I have to have a straight line with that. But I primarily specialize in VA loans. I work currently with a mortgage company who is owned by a veteran, started by a veteran, and our whole core value is providing excellent service for our veterans and VA loans specifically in a market that's not always there. Mm-hmm. So like I work a lot of after hours, a lot of weekends. I'll always pick up the call and answer them. There's no kickbacks between us if they don't use me. That's illegal.
Thank you for noting that.
Well, when you sleep with the lender, there's always a kickback.
I guess so. Fine. I guess there's little things.
There's a little kickback.
Yeah. Our poor kids.
Okay. So, all right.
It's like, you're not going to hear this. is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay. They're not gonna listen. No, if it's not Roblox or YouTube, they're not gonna watch it.
But yeah, if they want to, I do also any type of lending, but with a mortgage brokerage, we shop loans. We don't work for like a one bank. Like,
Place.
I'm never gonna say the names. Like, some of your big name lenders. We're not that. You talk to me. I'll get you all of your information, collect your personal data, go over what your goal is for your home, and kind of figure out what the best fit of a loan would be for you. And then we move forward to like doing a credit check, and then getting you that final pre-approval. Honestly, it could take as little as an hour or two, or sometimes I take a couple weeks of kind of working up and finding out what the client wants.
Okay.
So that's the process, and I think the benefit to that is this is such a competitive area. I don't know, and you may know this, but I learned this here a while back. 3 of the top 5 richest counties per capita in the entire country are within 10 minutes of us, right?
Yeah.
So there's a never-ending pool of money, and a VA loan, which again we primarily specialize in, they're not always viewed as the most competitive. So when I go, what's the benefit, right? So when I go and I write an offer for our client, and the listing agent says, "Be my neighbor, never heard of them," and who's Samantha? When you can say, we're top 10% of agents in the DMV. Checkmate Group that I'm on is the #1 Century 21 team in the state. And I'm top 10 Century 21 agents in the state. And you couple that with, additionally, the lender is not some bank in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
It's not some big conglomerate. And everything is managed in the Lenz household. So there's no better communication that happens than this all day long. All we talk about are our clients all day long. And a lot of listing agents are like, that's an interesting concept. I like it. So additionally, then for the client themselves, the benefit is when we're working together, like we're passing each other in the hallway, talking about, hey, did they get their appraisal back yet? And the group chats are very easy. So it's just, my whole goal was, I realized moving here, this was our 12th move in 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And I realized how difficult it is and how financially challenging it is. And it's so fast and it's so hectic and so diverse that our goal was to be a one-stop shop where we have everything answered. We have guides for you. We have everything in one shop. So it simplifies things.
Yeah, for sure. Because you don't want to be dealing with like all kinds of people. It's like, okay, I just want to buy my house. I just want to sell my house.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to talk to 5 different people.
Yeah.
So now here you can just have your one-stop shop.
Yep,
I love
absolutely.
that.
Yep.
And then I would like to ask you, how do you stay motivated and inspired in your work as real estate agents? And what keeps you passionate about the industry?
You want to take that one? Or you...
Yeah. So it's funny you say, like, burnout can definitely happen. I think we're feeling that a little bit after like a crazy summer.
Yes.
And definitely notice it. Some of our interactions with people are starting to get like a little short, a little snappy. You start getting kind of like, I don't even want to say it. If my clients are listening, I don't mean it. You're kind of getting annoyed sometimes by messages. And then that was like, I noticed that minute that happens was like, hey, hold on, what's going on? Like, take a break, take a breather. Ron was able to get away to go see a sister and some friends. Same thing, I have some stuff planned in a couple months to go see some family, kind of take a little time off.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important part, is when you get busy, be able to take a step back, reevaluate what matters to you, and remember like those relationships, that education, that teaching.
Yes.
And we're able to come back and like reset ourselves and recenter and have a new focus. Like, our focus for next year is really building an education system. Most of our clients are first-time home buyers, new to the area. And again, like I mentioned, the DMV is a massive area, even trying to figure out where you want to live and understanding the complexities of all of that.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to educate them and take the time and have that patience with them.
Absolutely.
And that helps us stay kind of reinvigorated and like, really helping them. When it's like you have your first time family that maybe this is their 4th or 5th move, or we had one this last year who was their first time ever away from family.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I won't say their name, but it was so cute, like their first time ever leaving home, and they were stressed.
I believe it.
So worried. And I think we found them like a really great place in the community, and the place they were able to like flourish, and that's important to us. Like, kind of helping them match them up with what they want for their future.
Absolutely.
And helps us keep centered and
I would agree. I think the reason I stay motivated is the one thing I miss about the military was being the mentor. At my rank, it was very much you were taking care of people. And I miss that. But real estate still gives me that ability. And because 99% of my people are military, we speak the same language. We've gone through the same challenges. They want to know how to get promoted. And I always tell people unlocking doors, turning on light switches, and setting your MLS search is the easiest thing I do.
Yeah.
It's all the relationship building, the coaching, the mentoring on the side that is really where I find the value in it.
I love that. And I love that you guys touched on burnout, because sometimes a lot of people maybe don't want to touch on that because it's hard to hear, like,
Oof, yeah.
you know, to be honest, it's hard sometimes, but you guys get real. And I really appreciate that, because I've experienced burnout too throughout my life. And sometimes it's like taboo to talk about, right? It's like, no, you just got to keep working hard. But you have to realize sometimes you got to step back and be like, yeah, this is affecting my family life, my interactions with my clients and with ourselves. So you have to just.
That is truly where we are right now, is digging out of that and figuring out the right balance and figuring out what do we want our life to look at, and then how does the business feed that versus just focusing purely on the business.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you look into research on burnout, I went through it with nursing, unfortunately. Burned out that flame during COVID. And it took me about at least 3 years to really full circle and come back from that, if I'm being honest. And that was a lot of support, a lot of spouse support, family support.
Definitely got to have that support.
Yeah, and just kind of like having that slower mindset, like, okay, it's okay to not feel okay, and telling yourself that, and then just working through it.
Absolutely.
And just finding ways that, okay, so if it's not working, you're feeling burnt out, you have to change something.
Yes.
You can't just keep in that cycle, and that's important.
Yeah, I love that. Well said.
Yeah, and it takes about 2 years, like, is what research says. If you're feeling the burnout, 2 years to come out of that. So
that's such a long time, but that's what you need.
Stop it. And take care of yourself.
Reevaluate. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love that. Thanks for that piece of information. Hopefully other entrepreneurs will hear this and take note too. Like, yes, you have to care about your clients and stuff, but don't forget to take care of yourself, because at the end, if you're not okay, everything else is gonna come down with it.
Right.
I would know. So
I know.
I think most people do now, especially here.
Yeah. It's crazy. But let's see. On a lighter note, what is the most unexpected thing you've learned about yourself since starting in real estate?
I am a lot more capable than I thought I was. I definitely, I think, struggled on the professionalism front. 'Cause as a nurse, I always knew, like, that's who I was. Yeah. That was my identity. That's what I was. But I lived, I breathed. Then when you step out of that comfort zone, you go, who am I? And, like, I really didn't have the confidence to, like, have conversations with people, pick up the phone and just call them. Yeah. That was my biggest struggle in life, the telephone. And over the last year and a half, it's amazing, right? That I can just
This is
do
not.
it.
This is not. I actually.
That I can just
this is
talk
going
to
way
people.
smoother than I expected right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
So Sam won't tell you this, but she's spot on. I mean, the growth I've seen in her is ridiculous. She used to have to write down, back in the days when we had to call a pizza place to order pizza, she would write down a script on what she was going to say to
I
order
will
pizza.
drive 30 minutes across town to not make a phone call.
Yeah, she's spot on there. She has gotten immensely better.
I'm proud of you.
Look at me.
I know. You're sitting here having an unscripted conversation.
I'm
right?
Unprofessional now.
You're,
okay, girl. We're so proud of you.
You're boss.
I love this.
Yeah.
Right?
You would have never gotten this.
No.
8 months
I
ago.
feel like I don't know you, but it was like, she's quiet and stuff. I'm like, did he just lie to me? Because she's not.
No,
like,
we were sniffing glue in the parking lot, like, trying to lighten up a little bit, you know.
Her face, she's like,
Whatever.
Please. Okay, but I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. What about you? Have you learned anything about yourself?
I have. In the opposite direction, everything I did, air traffic control is a very difficult career field. I was picked up on a very unique piloting program. I always viewed myself as the top notch of everything. And I kind of put a little bit too much. You said something earlier about me being humble, and I said I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I did say that.
Because I've always been at the top of the chart, and I quickly realized in real estate, some of that personality helps, but the majority of it is I'm very people focused, and sometimes I let the task itself get done at about 70 or 80%. I focus all on the person. Well, unfortunately, in this job, that task matters. This is a home. This is money. And I have found I'm not quite so good at that area. I really struggle to get into the nitty gritty details and analyze things. And that's what a lot of people want.
Yeah.
I don't deal well in that area. So I'd say some of the bigger failures I've had, and some of the more what the am I doing moments have been in this career field versus 20 years in high stress scenarios in the military. Yeah.
That's wild to know.
Yep.
Okay.
So, but again, back to that's why her coming into the picture
It's perfect.
offsets the piece that I don't deal
Yeah.
well with.
Okay.
You can kind of see when the other one's missing the mark on something and kind of
Pick it up.
Mhm.
kindly let them know, actually.
Just like
The
now, she keeps
education
touching
piece.
my leg, like, you're done. Stop. You know?
She's like, I am not. Traitor.
No, I was thinking actually I was proud of you because I do think it's hard to, and this guy who has like honestly never failed at anything in his life, because you just work hard, you just are good at everything innately. And when you have come across challenges and been like, wait, I wasn't very good then, I think that was hard for you to take
Mhm.
that and accept that,
Yeah.
and change it.
Yeah.
Well, you're hardwired one way, right?
Yes.
So how do you go the other way? It's
Sometimes you can't.
very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult, and that's why, again, bringing her on board was the piece that I was missing.
I
there.
love
So,
that for you
Yeah.
guys.
Well, and also like trying to get this guy to slow down. I think that was the other piece.
Yeah.
Is he will work himself to death and give all of himself away. Like there was a while, like a year and a half ago, he was working every night from like literally start answering phones and emails at 6 o'clock in the morning, even earlier. 'Cause
Yeah.
you were going
When
to
I was in the
Pentagon till, like,
Pentagon,
4.
I was answering emails at 4 a.m.
and then you'd be working till 10:30, and
Oh,
I
no.
every night would be working. And finally, I was like, this isn't sustainable. Like we have to make a change.
Yeah. And see,
And
I love
crossing
that
boundaries.
you guys are together for that reason, obviously, is that you see where it's like, okay, we need to stop where the other person's a workaholic and you're like, no. We need to not do this. And like it helps center you and bring you back like, okay, I didn't realize that about myself. And then vice versa. So I think that's so great. Like yin and yang over here.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And
Say it like you mean it.
No, I mean it.
he does. I believe it. I
do.
trust this guy sometimes. I trust you way more.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
what's one thing about being a realtor that most people don't know or understand?
Oh, I'm taking this one.
He's
I
like,
got
you
a
got
whole
this one.
list of things on this one.
give him.
We talk about this a lot. Our agents, if they will be watching because they're all Facebook friends, they made it look so effortless.
Yeah. I had no
Effortless. I had no idea. I thought this was going to be, I keep saying the phrase, but unlock a door, turn on a light switch, and
Glamour.
boom, we're going to be rich. My God. I'd say the number one thing is you're never off. You're never on your own time. You're always on somebody else's schedule. And that is very hard to find the balance. Initially, you give everything because it's the only way you get business and the only way you get paid.
Yeah.
We're now at that point, 3.5, almost 4 years in, where that can't be the case anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. You're never off. Additionally, I didn't realize how much psychological warfare was in this. That's been the biggest thing.
So much psychology.
Feel I'm pretty good with people. This has been extremely challenging.
Wow.
And like Sam said, I give because I want the customer service to be there, right? Our number one thing is dynamic customer service.
Yes.
And second is building relationships through real estate. And I quickly realized that no matter how much I give, there are some people I will not make happy. And that kills,
And you have to accept that,
it kills
right?
me inside.
Yeah.
It kills me. But, this year we've had a couple clients that we've had to part ways with. It just wasn't the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I'm learning a little bit more.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Right?
And I'll tell you, I've had probably 5 or 6 Air Force people that I work with that want to get into real estate. They watch our stuff online. And everyone says, what's the number one thing you don't like? And here it is. Every person I meet, I have to constantly prove I'm the right fit. And I can boast numbers. I can boast background. I can talk about whatever. I can discount my pricing a little bit. They will always chase somebody who offers it at a lesser amount. And so despite super career and all the top performer awards and everything, if someone offers it for a little bit less, they'll go that direction.
Yeah.
So that's been hard for me, I think.
Right.
Whereas in the military, it was immediate recognition. And here it's like I'm having to sell
We got to
it.
wean you off of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. But it's, that was hard for me. And it still is hard for me.
I'm glad that you are able to realize that and like are trying to do something about it. So that's good. The first step is knowing where you're like.
Yes. But for the new agents who are listening, they're going to feel the same thing because at the beginning you take anything, you give all, and you're just trying to build that up. And that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Always on the hunt.
I think for me with real estate was realizing how emotional it is.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed from afar, and when we'd bought and sold 4 houses prior to being in the business, and I didn't really think it was all that emotional personally, but these were never our forever homes. We always knew we were going to be turn and burn, quick moves.
Yeah.
Never there for long. And seeing now that people, it's very emotional, especially with the prices of homes today.
Oh, yeah.
And interest rates. And people are literally spending like sometimes down to their last dime to get into their home, and really trying to remember like this this is their whole world right now.
Yeah.
And kind of giving them that grace of their emotions, and
Absolutely.
while also keeping it in check and being their counselor and
Whew. Yeah, I see what you mean there.
mentor and educator. And it's a fine line to walk.
Yeah.
And that was something I didn't expect in real estate
Yeah.
Yes.
or lending.
Surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I literally thought it was just send a search, go show the house, write an offer, and win, and that was it.
Win. Oh my
And
gosh.
win.
I feel a lot of people do think like that, but
I've
we're breaking the stigma of that.
Yeah,
I save people's lives. Like literally, I work in critical care. There's times we are saving them, like actually doing CPR to bring them back
Literally.
to death. And I am more stressed out as a mortgage lender
Yep.
than I am.
Oh my gosh.
Because the nurse, like I got that.
Like
My skills are top notch, and I have total control of the situation. But the lending side of it, it's nerve wracking. You're dealing with people's money and
Yeah.
their emotions.
Okay.
And that was
part.
surprising to me.
I was the same way. I mean, air traffic control, you could crash planes. While I was a pilot, you could
Not
crash.
crash planes.
And I never felt that level of anxiety. When I get a message and a client's unhappy, my whole body has a reaction to that.
This is quite refreshing to hear from you both.
It's-
My perspective is just like, wow.
It's
Okay.
it's hard. It's very hard. And then you always want to give and make it right, so your family and your time gets sacrificed.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all about finding that balance.
It is.
But
Yes.
is there anything maybe that I have not touched on that maybe you guys would like to share with our listeners, whether it's about yourself, your family, your industry, anything, maybe another passion you guys have? You have the floor.
No, I mean, I think with anything, it's educating yourself on everything that's important for buyers and sellers. Like understanding the basics is important. And then obviously having your professional that you trust to lead you along the way. But I think a lot of it is also taking that education level on yourself to kind of understand the process too. So then you can speak up for yourself. Because I know I've heard a lot of people who might have a really bad relationship or a bad experience with a transaction.
And they're scared to speak
And
up.
some of it might have been just like education, lack of communication. And yeah, you have to be able to speak up and state your needs. And
yeah.
I think the one thing I've got is it kind of goes back to what keeps us motivated. I think 2 or 3 times this week alone, the comment has come across that we've not met an agent like you that's responsive, that cares, that's transparent, that's honest. That's motivating for me, and that's what keeps me going. And so I think that has been what's contributed to our very rapid success. And so, we talked about our team, the Checkmate Group, is the #1 Century 21 team in the state. Top 10 Century 21 agents in Virginia, top 10% of agents in Virginia, all that just to say that I think we have found the recipe that works, right?
Yeah.
And stop chasing commissions, stop counting it as transactions, it's relationships.
Yes.
And the one way that I also foster that, knowing how difficult it is moving here, especially from afar, especially now with prices and interest rates, I got into a program called Homes for Heroes. Have you ever heard of that before?
I have not.
Okay. So Homes for Heroes was started after 9/11, and it was designed strictly for firefighters from 9/11.
Oh, wow.
And it was as, people passed or whatever was going on, it was a reward program when they bought or sold a home.
Yeah.
That program has expanded to include fire and EMS, law enforcement, military, to include veterans, educators, and medical professionals. And I signed up for the program because a client said, hey, I'm interested and I'd hate to leave free money on the table. So I signed up for it. It's like, all right, I'll do it. She's probably listening now, so thank you, Chris. And yesterday was my 1-year mark with them. I just renewed my membership in 1 year. We met, I'm either #1 or #2 Homes for Heroes agents in Virginia. I've surpassed top 20 in the entire nation.
Oh, wow.
And here's the kicker. We have rewarded $110,000 back to heroes in the local area this year. I didn't make $110,000 when I was in the military. So I find that wild that we're rewarding that. So all that to say, I think once you align your business with understanding what your purpose is, and then aligning it with a purpose that feeds into that, like the Homes for Heroes and re-energizing people and helping people.
Yeah.
I think that's where we have found ourselves on the top of the charts.
That's incredible. Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
both of you. This is insane and incredible. Like the fact that you make them mentor, but at least you get to give it to a good cause.
Right.
Like, that's wild. That's like mind blowing.
Right.
But
Right.
that's incredible.
Right.
So thanks for sharing
I
that.
like this going directly to them too. It's not.
Just like a third party or like
Yeah,
a
right.
portion of it.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
there's a
incredible.
lot of great things you could donate to and a lot of programs out there, but it's kind of nice knowing it's directly back to them.
Right?
Yep.
Thank you. I didn't know that. And where can we find more information about
You just got to contact me. No, Homes for Heroes. You can go to homesforheroes.com. And any house qualifies. You just have to be working with an agent that's in the program. So, yep.
Beautiful.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. So now my last question is going to be one that I ask all our guests that come here. Do you have a quote or a saying, a mantra, maybe something that someone has told you in your life that stuck out that you would like to share and leave as a message for our listeners? We would love to hear it.
Still struggling to live by this, but I remember this. Mr. J.R. Lida, if you're listening, he's the one who told me, every time you say yes, it comes at a cost. No is always free. So as you're building your businesses and you're trying to figure things out and you say yes because you need the business to grow, yes always comes at a cost of time, of energy, of mental drain. I'm learning to say no because it's always free.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. My one is Elizabeth Olsen actually said it in an interview. No is a complete sentence.
Oh, well, there you go.
I love that. Look at that.
That wasn't scripted.
Sure. You guys
It
planned
wasn't.
this in the car, didn't
No.
you? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's
my
beautiful.
favorite. I teach my daughter that all the time.
No, that's good. That's a powerful thing right there. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the
Of course.
podcast. This was so much fun. I wish we had more time because I feel like I could talk to you guys and pick your brains for way longer, but time is of the essence here.
Thanks for
But
having us.
yeah,
We appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
absolutely.